Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the April boxing schedule. So we're going to talk about all the fights that are taking place in the month of April that you can view on television or on, on whatever platform or service now, streaming service. So, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So starting with this weekend, actually tomorrow, April 6th, DAZN's going to come to us first with a decent card. That is headlined by Richardson Hitchens, the undefeated junior welterweight contender, as he battles undefeated fellow junior welterweight contender Gustavo Lemos. And this fight is going to be for the IBF mandatory title shot, which the belt is currently held by the hard-hitting Subriel Matias. So a win here for Hitchens or Lemos is going to skyrocket them to a world title shot likely later this year, unless there's a unification bout that takes place. So, but it's putting the winner directly in line. That's a good main event right there. Good to see two undefeated fighters going at it, contrasting styles. Lemos, more of the brawler, and Richardson Hitchens, the consummate boxer. So it's a good matchup. April 6th in the main event. On the undercard, the co-feature, you got undefeated super middleweight contender on the rise, Diego Pacheco, as he stays busy taking on some guy named Sean McCalman, who's undefeated, less known, but Pacheco wanting to continue his undefeated road as he sets himself up for potentially superstardom, either at 168 or 175. He's a big guy at 6'4", but McCalman's not small. He's 6 foot, so this should be an interesting one on the undercard. That's April 6th. April 13th, we got a couple different cards taking place. First, on DAZN from the United Kingdom, you got a 130-pound scrap right here between Jordan Gill, who upset Michael Conlan last year in a big upset, as he battles former world title challenger, the very talented Zelfa Barrett. This is a good one right here. It's really going to separate, fighters, and the winner is really going to climb. I think the winner probably climbs into the top 10 and starts to make a move towards something bigger later in the year. So it's a good matchup from the United Kingdom earlier in the day on April 13th. Then on ESPN later on that day, we got a triple header on ESPN that I'm really looking forward to. It's headlined by Jared the Real Big Baby Anderson, the undefeated heavyweight contender on the rise, as he takes on former cruiserweight champ Riyad Merhi, who has heavyweight power, was a strong cruiserweight. So this is going to be a good one. Merhi's only suffered defeat against Arsen Goulamirian years ago, and now is hungry, wants a title shot, and wants to get into the mix. But Jared Anderson, coming off the personal stuff, the arrest, he's got to stay focused and really be zoned in on this fight right here. And it should be a good one on April 13th in the main event. The co-feature has F.A. Ajagba, heavyweight contender, only lost to Frank Sanchez. He's going to battle some guy named Vianello, who I believe is undefeated. Ajagba just staying busy ahead of what potentially could be a shot with Jared Anderson later in the year, since they're both with Top Rank. That's going to be an interesting one. And then Robson Conceição, the former 3-time world title challenger, is returning at 130 to battle some guy named Guardado. Conceição coming off of that somewhat controversial draw with Emmanuel Navarrete as he challenged for the title. Staying busy, wants to get a win ahead of getting back into the serious mix here at 130. Good triple header right here. Really looking forward to that on April 13th. Then on April 20th, DAZN pay-per-view, headlined by a huge fight when Devin Haney battles Ryan Garcia with the WBC junior welterweight title at 140 pounds on the line. This is a big-time matchup right here, headlining this DAZN pay-per-view. Really can't wait to see it. Garcia's only lost to Tank Davis when he had the two, weight clause issues put on him. And then Devin Haney has been rolling. You know, he got the very controversial win over Lomachenko last year at lightweight. Outside of that, he's been rolling the last three years, and now and just debuted back in December, dominating Regis Prograis over 12 rounds. So he's fighting a young fighter who's got pop and is talented. It's a lot of talk going on between the two. Can't wait to see that main event. Co-feature is going to see current WBO #1 ranked contender at 140 pounds, Arnold Barboza Jr., as he fights for his second time this year, taking on some guy named McComb. In the co-feature, McComb, nothing real special to speak of. Barboza, it looks like it's just a stay busy fight for him. Then Bektemir Melikuziev, the one-loss, hard-hitting, and very talented super middleweight contender, is returning to battle some guy named Pierre Dibombe, who's undefeated. This one is pretty much a stay busy as well for Melikuziev. I believe he's gonna, he should run through this one, but it's a stay busy fight for him on that card. And then also on the card is undefeated super welterweight contender at 154. He's a current #1 ranked contender in the WBC, Charles Conwell, 18-0, 13 knockouts. He's taking on some guy named Vittori, in a stay busy fight. It's his DAZN debut. So gonna be good to see these guys. This card, overall in action should be decent. And then the last card of the year, taking place from Fresno. It's supposed to, anyways. It hasn't been officially released on the schedule, but tickets are on sale right now. It looks like the fight's going through. April 27th on DAZN, headlined by the local kid Jose Ramirez, the former unified junior welterweight champ at 140, as he battles former 2-division world champion Rances Barthelemy. Ramirez returning after over a year layoff in this one, making his DAZN debut with Golden Boy, and he's looking to get a big win here against Barthelemy, who never seems to go away. Barthelemy last year fought tough against Gary Antoine Russell. He doesn't sleep. Don't sleep on him. This should be a decent matchup. And then on the undercard in the co-feature, Virgil Ortiz Jr., the undefeated super welterweight contender, returned this year after almost a year-and-a-half layoff. He returned in January. Wants to continue to shake off the rust, as he is set to battle former world title challenger Thomas Dulorme, ahead of hopefully what Ortiz wants to be, a world title shot sometime this year. So a lot of action going on in April. Those are all the cards. Now, in terms of the 3 best cards for the whole year, for the whole month of April, I'd say number 3 is probably the April 27th DAZN card, that's headlined by Jose Ramirez and Barthelemy, and then Virgil Ortiz and Thomas Dulorme. You got you got a former unified world champion and Ramirez trying to set the tone again at 140 and get back into the serious mix. And then you got Virgil Ortiz, who taking on a former world champ as well and trying to establish himself at 154. So both these guys going after established, not a world champion in Dulorme, but a very established veteran who's been there, done that. And Barthelemy for Ramirez, another one. And then the second biggest card of the month, I think, is the ESPN card on April 13th, headlined by Jared Anderson and Rihad Merhi. 2 good heavyweight fights, especially the main event with Anderson and Merhi. Jogba on the undercard is good, and then Conceição, adding to it also on the undercard really makes that one an enticing card. But it's hard to look past the April 20th card. That's the biggest card of the year. That huge main event between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia makes it very strong. But the undercard, not great, but it has good fighters on it. You got Arnold Barboza staying busy. You got Bektemir Melikuziev staying busy. And Charles Conwell making his debut for DAZN and staying busy. So that should be decent. Now, in terms of the top 5 fights of the month, this is my number 1 fight, of course. I already know what that is. So that one was easy. After that, it wasn't so easy. You know, trying to pick apart which ones are most important and all that, you know, good stuff. God, it's very, very tough. If I had to choose number 5, I'm probably going with Arnold Barboza Jr. on the DAZN pay-per-view undercard of Haney Garcia on April 20th. Arnold Barboza is knocking on the door of a world title fight, and he needs to stay busy. He's undefeated, so that's important. Taking on some guy named Macomb. You know, that and the Jose Ramirez-Rances Barthelemy fight are neck and neck, but I think, you know, Ramirez probably has a tougher opponent in the veteran former champ Barthelemy, but Barboza is in line for a title, so that's what makes that one a little bit more important for me. Number 4, again, very tough to choose, but I'm going to go with Vergil Ortiz and Thomas Delorme, because Vergil Ortiz has a lot riding on this one. A win here pretty much guarantees him a title shot in my book. Either, you know, in this one, yeah, I might even move this one up to 3rd, or even 2nd as far as to 2nd. It's just the matchup isn't a great one, but he needs, because he should be heavily favored over Delorme, who's past his prime, but Ortiz got a lot of pressure for what's next after this, so a victory is you know, is very important for Victor Ortiz. Number 3, I'm going, and again, I'm playing the matchup game, but also what's riding on the fight. I'm going with Jared Anderson and Rihad Merhi, the main event of April 13th ESPN card. It's a good matchup for Anderson to continue to build. It probably is going to lead to like an Efe Ajagba fight or something even bigger later in the year, depending on what gets signed, who's doing what in the exploded heavyweight division. And then also, number 2, I'm going with Richardson Hitchens and Gustavo Lemos, the main event of tomorrow's April 6th card. A lot of people might criticize this one, but it's going to lead to Subriel Matias, you know, and these are 2 undefeated fighters, you know, that are on, you know, are trying to establish themselves right here. You know, and this is one of the better matchups in terms of in terms of parity, if that makes sense. Now, it could be a one-sided fight. I mean, I have the feeling that Richardson Hitchens might dominate Gustavo Lemos in this fight, but the fact that they're both undefeated, and they've earned this right to get into this position, and then what's riding on it is a guaranteed title shot. Not the thought of a title shot, not a hope of a title shot. It's a guarantee, and it's a good matchup on paper. So I'm going with this one as the number 2 fight of the month. But number 1, there really isn't any question that it's Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia for the WBC junior welterweight title. This is a huge matchup for a title at 140. Actually, I think it might be the only title fight in April, and it's a big one. So this one for me is the number 1 fight of the month in April coming up, and I really can't wait to see it. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my April boxing schedule. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.